Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'll be playing some Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. Now I am no means an expert at this game, so very much in the learning phase. I'm actually going to be doing a flight school mission, flying from A to B, so basically trying to learn navigation. Just going to quickly go through the in-game settings as normal, so you guys can see what I'm running. So playing at resolution of 3840 by 2160. And using the ultra settings, but the only thing I've taken off is VSync. Obviously I want to unlock the frame rate. Not that it's gonna help, this game is extremely demanding, but yeah, let's see how the RTX 2080 Ti performs. Game does appear to have HDR, but for the time being I'm not gonna run that. I'm just gonna do a normal standard dynamic range video, and then I'll probably come back with a HDR video a bit later. So let's get into it. So just for people was wondering,
I've always said, flying is freeing. Open skies, endless possibilities. But to fully enjoy it, you need to be prepared. We're going to focus this lesson on navigation prep and procedures, the fundamentals of getting from point A to point B. Step 1, putting some distance between us and the ground.
okay, so let's take off and try and complete this flight school mission. So getting around 42 frames per second, which is not great, but it just shows you how demanding the game is. So let's just release the brake and get the throttle down. I prefer to take off in this view, just a little bit easier for me. Some of the cockpits are very obstructive. This plane's cockpit isn't too bad, to be fair, but I prefer to take off this way. I just want to reach, I think I need at least 65 knots, and then I can take off. Okay, that's fine. So takeoff has been complete. That was very easy. Now I just need to climb to the right altitude.
Alright, we're off. Now keep climbing around the airport till we reach 5,800 feet.
5,800 feet shouldn't be too hard to reach. Nice and slow climb. Don't want to stall the engine. I mean, the detail of the terrain is just ridiculous. They have done a great job visually with the game. Just looking at it, it's pretty stunning. Just how detailed it is. Anyway, so let's focus on the task at hand. Currently at 5,300 altitude. Need to get up to about 58, so gotta keep climbing. I'm going to go into the cockpit now so you guys can have a look how detailed the instruments are and just the internals. I mean, everything just looks amazingly well done. You do get a slight bump in performance for going into the cockpit.
Without saying, but good navigation starts with good departure prep. Let's set up the aircraft for the first leg of your trip.
Okay, so I got a set cruise altitude. I'm just going to back off on the throttle a little bit. It's about 2100 RPM.
Attitude? Check. Now for your heading. When you need to set and maintain a heading, you'll want to rely on your heading indicator. Compasses are prone to errors, especially during turns or while accelerating or decelerating. Go ahead and position your plane above the airport.
Okay, so I'm just going to turn and position the plane above the airport. It shouldn't be too hard. We haven't strayed too far away. Now the game's actually 150 gigabytes to install, which is just insane. Nothing compared to Call of Duty Modern Warfare, but just for this type of game, that is huge. So hope you guys have got space on your SSD for this. I've installed this to my PCIe 4.0 M.2 drive, so I got excellent read and write speed, so this game will run as smooth as it possibly can. But unfortunately I can't push my overclock to 2100 megahertz because I will be moving this card on soon, and I've put back the stock cooler. As you can see, currently doing 66 degrees Celsius, which isn't bad, but I've also removed my custom BIOS, so I won't be able to maintain those very high core clocks while playing at 4K. But 1980 megahertz, it's not too bad. Okay, almost over the runway. Just waiting for the next instructions. Let's go back into the cockpit just so you guys can see how it looks from in here. It's a lot quieter in here as well, which is nice.
One last bit of departure prep. We need to validate the time. That's a fancy way of saying start the clock.
Okay, so I've got to start a clock now. I guess it's this thing over here.
On the nav log, you can see our next waypoint, Munns Park, is at a 41-degree heading about 5 minutes away. Navigating is basically flying a given heading for a given amount of time. Sometimes you deviate, but if you track the time flow from your last known position, you'll always have at least a range for your current position.
This is all very technical, but I got a waypoint that's fairly easy to follow.
Increase or decrease depending on the wind. That's why at your next waypoint you want to compare your estimated time en route with the actual time flow. Validate your estimate and your progress.
Okay, so this something is obviously very important for real pilots. So your plane actually arrives on time. The amount of instruments that are on this thing is quite confusing. The game does do a great job of coaching you to actually know what all of this stuff means. As far as I'm concerned, all I really need to know about is altitude and the speed of the plane at the moment. That's really all I'm concerned with, and I've just got to follow the waypoint, of course. So a lot of rumors are being flying around for the new graphics cards. So RTX 390, still NVIDIA hasn't really confirmed any naming scheme, but we're gonna go with the NVIDIA 3000 series for the time being. Obviously I'm interested in getting myself the 3080 Ti or 390, whatever they're gonna call it. There is a rumor that it's gonna be $1,400 US, which is very steep. I mean, I live in the UK, England, so that will translate into Great British pounds, which generally will mean I'll be paying a little bit less. But I found over the years the conversion rate isn't that great anymore. These UK retailers are just selling it pretty much at a 1-to-1 ratio. They don't really care about the economic conversion. So hopefully, if it is going to be 1400, hopefully I'll only have to pay 1200 or something like that, which is pretty much what I paid for my RTX 2080 Ti. Expensive, yes, but I'm prepared to pay. 24 gigabytes of RAM potentially with GDDR6 at 21 gigabytes per second, which pleases me greatly. I've been stuck at 11 gigabytes since my GTX 1080 Ti, so I'll be glad to move above that VRAM threshold. Games like Final Fantasy 15 would appreciate it, and I play at 4K, so more modern games are going to start ramping up the texture requirements, and that's definitely going to be VRAM intensive, so it'll be nice to have over 11-12 gigabytes available. In terms of performance, no one really knows, but I'll be happy with 40% or more. And of course we're yet to see what features it's going to have, but we can safely assume that ray tracing is going to be a massive focus for the next generation GPU. So I'm excited. I believe it's 14 days now for the announcement. I think GTC has been announced for October. Whether or not that's got to do with Ampere or that's just their kind of professional series Quadro, and you know, NVIDIA are very focused with automotive driving and all that stuff and deep learning and all the rest of it. I don't know if that's really got to do with graphics for gaming, so we'll see if there's a separate announcement for Ampere, but I'm looking forward to it. Nothing from AMD yet. I'm sure they'll bring out their cards before the end of the year, but they may just be hanging back and looking what NVIDIA's doing, checking what kind of prices they're gonna launch at, and just try and undercut them with good value. That hopefully that's the case. There'll be no buyer's remorse for me. I intend to get a big Navi GPU as well, so looking forward to seeing how it does perform. AMD returning to the high end. It's been a long time, and we'll see how they do. Okay, so not too far from the first checkpoint. I'm not too sure how long this flight's going to be, but hopefully it's not going to be too long. You can see the weather is actually changing as well. The sun seems to be going down, or it's just got a lot darker from what I can see. You can even see cars in the distance on the road, which is a nice touch. This is a very extremely detailed game. Even the RTX 2080 Ti, which is one of the best cards available right now, got no chance of getting 60 FPS at 4K. My Ryzen 9 3950X, however, is having a great time, not really having to do too much.
We've made it to Munns Park. According to the nav log, we've got one more stop, Flagstaff Pulliam Airport. An easier way to navigate is to follow identifiable landmarks like highways. And just so happens we have one below us.
Okay, so I've got to follow the highway apparently. Well, wouldn't it just be easier just to fly into the distance? Now there is a highway below me, but it doesn't seem that it's the fastest route. I can just pretty much follow the nav point, but I may have to do the objectives the way they want, so let's have a look for that highway then. I don't really see one. There's just loads of trees from what I can see. I'm just gonna head towards the waypoint. Hopefully this highway reveals itself. Go back into the cockpit now so you guys can have another look around. I'm playing with my Xbox One controller for those who are interested. I'm not too sure why, but if you leave the controller, the plane kind of pulls to the right for some reason. I'm not too sure why. I don't know if there's an issue on my side. Anyone else experienced that? Just let me know. But yeah, the plane pulls to the right for some reason, so I'm constantly fighting it to keep it steady. It'd be nice just to be able to cruise at even level and just kind of admire the graphics. Let's have another look for this highway. So it seems like the sun's coming back out. The draw distance in this game is pretty staggering as well. You can see those mountains in the far distance, and you can only imagine how far away that is. And they've done the game to a very good scale. So from, let's just say, Birmingham, England to Paris, that's about 20 minutes on your standard commercial airline. And in the game it's about 20 minutes as well, so they've really done the scaling very well for that type of plane. And I think the game streams in assets as you play from the internet, so it does give you the choice of what type of internet speed you have, and you know, try to make it as feasible as possible. If you live in an area where you don't have fast broadband, then you can have reduced rates But if you've got decent broadband, then you can enjoy really accurate satellite data streamed into the game, which is pretty awesome. So the game is just literally sitting nice at around 40 to 45 frames per second, give or take. It's good for someone, I mean, as a simulator game, it's not exactly giving you a bad experience, but as a gamer, I would love to have 60 frames per second or more, just for that smoothness. But hey, with the amount of detail on show, I don't think this is an optimization issue. I just generally think the card doesn't have enough power to provide the frames, so it'd be nice to come back and see what the new cards can do. So yeah, I still don't know where this highway my trainer was referring to. Just gonna have a look around the plane. Very impressed on how detailed the clouds are as well. They don't seem to move though. So we've been flying for about 16 minutes now, almost to the destination. I think the highway she's referring to is just on my left here, so I could potentially pull over to the left and follow it. Let's just see if that is the one she's referring to. I do want to complete the objectives as best as possible. It's the only stretch of road that looks remotely like a highway, so let's fly over it. Just love the way the light just bounces over the wings. And I think they will be adding ray tracing to this game as well. So yeah, this is the highway she was referring to. So I'll follow this and it will lead to the airport. But yeah, I am thoroughly impressed by the visuals of this game. Very impressed. I will come back with other videos flying some more demanding aircraft like the Boeing 747. I need to gain a lot more experience in the game, of course, as I'm a complete noob when it comes to flight simulator, but that's okay. It's always nice to learn new skills. Let's see if I can follow the highway as best as possible. So currently at 7,500 altitude, which is close to the plane's max, so I should probably start flying a little bit lower. Already 3 FPS now, so the closer you get to the ground, the more the detail reveals itself. Even the VRAM starting to ramp up, as you can see, using about 9.5 gigabytes of VRAM now. So as beautiful as this game is, current hardware, even the top end hardware, is definitely going to struggle. So now if you want to play at 4K, you're going to really need something to do it. Wonder how long I have to follow the highway for. I'm not too far away from the destination now. I can see a flashing light in the distance. I believe that might be the airport. So let's get lined up and ready for a landing. I'm not going to assume, so I'm just going to follow the waypoint just to be sure, just in case.
As you close in on Flagstaff Pulliam airspace, next step is setting up to enter the traffic pattern.
Okay, so the traffic pattern.
Enter the downwind leg and land on runway 21. Keep your attitude, then follow the standard pattern.
So I got to restart the nav log stopwatch. Now how the hell do I do that? I don't know, but that looks like the runway over there to me. So I'm not going to be following the tutorial to the letter, but that is the runway. So I'm just going to line myself up and coming for a landing. Man, 29 FPS here. Really struggling. This game is just brutalizing my RTX 2080 Ti. Absolutely no chance of running high frame rates, but to be expected, it is a very, very demanding game. So I'm just gonna come in from a more steep angle. I'm gonna give myself enough time to line up the landing as best as possible. Okay, almost lined up now. I'm gonna start reducing the throttle. Good thing about this plane, you don't need to drop a landing gear, it's already there. Okay, let's try not to crash now. Take it in nice and easy. I probably failed the objective because I didn't do exactly what it wanted, but I can put this on the ground without crashing, and I'll be happy with that. Oh, yeah, that didn't go too well. But yeah, that's just a quick look at Flight Simulator. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed the video, and as always, thanks for watching.